I had been a journalist during the war. We were supposed to think, where is the fire line? Where is the danger coming from? Where are the shots coming from? I didn't imagine that the post-war is going to be some sort of a minefield as well. You have to watch your back like you did during the war.
I interviewed over 80 journalists in Bosnia, Hercegovina, in Kosovo, in Serbia, in Montenegro, and in Macedonia. And there are serious curbs on press freedom in these countries. The hostile environment includes being subject to attacks, to be subject to death threats.
I received a couple of text messages on my cell phone with the name of my father and the very exact address where I live in Pristina, my date of birth.
Artan Harashia has been doing a lot of work on mapping out radical Islamic groups, and as a result he has been subject to a lot of death threats, and most of them have been issued via social media.
You need your throat cut. This message said if you don't remove the article within 3 days there are going to be severe consequences involving your family as well.
One of the problems that we're seeing is the weak state response to these attacks. I mean, he collected all of the evidence. There was ample enough information in the material that he handed over to the authorities for them to follow up on, and yet nothing has happened. There is an obligation to protect journalists from these types of crimes.
Околу истражувачкото новинарство ќе ви кажат дека тоа заврши на 28 мај 2013 година, моментот кога јас бев уапсен.
One of the most egregious examples of political interference is the case of Tomislav Kežarovski, a Macedonian investigative journalist who in 2013 was investigating the death of another journalist. He was arrested and brought up on trumped-up charges.
Во нашиот дом упадна 15-тина маскирани лица, припадници на Министерството за внатрешни работи, вооружени со полна воена спрема. Мојот случај е направен, сметам дека е направен, да се даде до знаење што ќе му се случи некому ако ја пречекори некоја известна дадена црвена линија.
We also documented a number of cases where journalists are subjected to smear campaigns in pro-government media.
This cartoon is published in the Daily, in that time owned by the state. They are actually saying that we are criminals, as a trash, as a garbage.
And this is all part of a broader pattern which aims to try and silence these outlets, dragging journalists to court for all sorts of stories that they write on, to make sure that they can financially squeeze them through high fines and legal costs that they can't afford.
That is actually the way how the authorities are trying to damage us financially.
All these 4 countries, their primary goal is to join the European Union. But in order to join the European Union, there are certain criteria that states need to adhere to. One of those criteria is respect for freedom of expression, which includes respect for press freedom.
All of us have one thing in common. We may have gone to war, we may still hate each other, the Balkan nations, but we have one thing in common. We are desperate to reform our countries, to change, to impress the EU.
If the EU is serious about its own membership criteria, they should push to ensure the governments create a safe environment for journalists to be able to do their jobs as public watchdogs.